Strength, power, speed are attributes of the body as well that we need to respect, and we have to train them in an order. There is a process by which we gain these things that works for our body, and a process by which we're going to leave gains on the table. And gains, I purposely mean that in terms of health and of performance in life and in sport, if we were looking at it that way. So strength, power, speed. Strength is moving heavy weights slow. Power is moving very light weights fast. Speed is usually like a top speed, like using body weight, or it's like, generally speaking, jumping or sprinting. Now, to sum up all of strength and conditioning, we could say that it comes down to moving different weights at different speeds at different times of the year. That basically sums up all of strength and conditioning right there. However, there is a true lack of understanding of the means by which we train these three things. Okay, we have to focus on strength first, then we have to focus on power, then we have to focus on speed. However, does that mean that we have to be able to squat double our body weight before we can work on speed? No, that does not. That's not what that means. And in the strength world, that is a very common dilemma. Is like, well, do we need to actually do this? No, that's silly. We can do these. We don't have to wait until we've gotten all this strength to be able to train any speed at all. But we do need to focus on strength up front in order to get more out of these other two. So when we get into strength first, we're not just talking about only training strength. We're talking about doing this smart. Okay, so we're gonna focus on strength first, moving heavy weights slow, and then when we get a foundation there, then we can move more to an emphasis of power, moving lighter weights faster. But we're not going to leave this off the table. We're still emphasizing this because we haven't become masters of this. So we still have to emphasize this while we're gaining more power movements into our program, right? So once we get that, then we can build upon what we've gotten here in order to get speed. Now, if we take this a step further and we look at this as a spectrum, okay, you have the top of the spectrum here, and you have the bottom of the other side of the spectrum here. Most of our time is probably going to be spent on the outer edges of strength and speed, not in the middle with power. We're not going to spend a ton of time in here. We're going to spend more time right in this general category and in that general category. Why? Because in order to get the answers, you go to the ends of the spectrums and then come back to the middle, and then you become masters of the whole thing. It's just it's one of the, as I don't want to call it a truism, but it's kind of how the body works. Because when we do this, then we can build upon the foundation with power, and then we can build upon that foundation with speed, and then we get more out of the strength gains that we actually started with. But if we go backwards and we start with speed, now we don't have this ability to decelerate into a position. We don't have this ability to slow down when we're sprinting. And in that, we probably gained an injury. But also, speed is more about, like when you talk about change of direction, let's talk about an agility thing or just falling over and catching yourself. Yes, that might be speed. But the ability to decelerate into that position, hold the position, and change direction has everything to do with the strength that you have in that isometric portion of the exercise. So holding the position, getting very good at holding that position, makes you able to transition faster. Okay? Most athletes, most strength coaches get this wrong, where they just focus on they're going to jump sideways and then pop out of it. Where it'd be better off, jump, get very, very good in this position, and then when you do actually have to change that direction, your body trusts you to be able to transition from where you were out of that isometric where we were at the beginning. So we really have to work smart when we do this. We have to focus on strength up front because this is our foundation, and then we can build upon that with power, and then we can build upon that with speed. And if we do it in this order, we get more here anyway. You get a little bit stronger, you're going to get faster. You get a little bit stronger, you're going to get more power. But eventually we're going to top this out. So this will feed itself if you do it in order. If you go the other direction, you're in for a rude awakening because it doesn't work very well that way. So focus on strength up front and appreciate the strength that you do gain. Okay, strength is the foundation. It's how you move. The movement quality. Okay, we do not want to focus on just trying to lift as much as we possibly can every single time. If you put strength and power and speed and muscle gain ahead of movement quality, you will lose because you will get none of them. Okay? If you put movement quality first, you will get all these. But they go in this order. First, you focus on strength while still, you emphasize strength, and then you emphasize power, and then you emphasize speed, and then you come back up to strength. But we're going to change them all So you might put like a 9 here, a 1, or an 8 here, a 1 here, and a 1 here. And then in your next program, you might put a 7 here, and a 2, and a 1 there. And then the third, you might put a 6, and a 3, and a 2. No, a 2. Anyway, strength, power, speed. Train them in that order.